done our dry work here. Tim, you're a new client. What areas would you like me to work on today? How are you feeling?
Mid back here is very tight, and I've got a lot of tension here.
Right, okay. So straight away he's telling me this is tight and this doesn't feel too good. Okay, so we can see that this area has been marked off when Livia was working with him. So I'm coming in straight away and we're assessing how tight it is. It certainly doesn't feel to be too bad, but I can feel that this is not in a good state of looseness, and this is. That's it. He's using the breath as well, taking some nice deep breaths. Deep breath, breathe. So, the shoulder feels not too bad. I can certainly feel it. Okay? Okay, so this shoulder feels a lot tighter than this shoulder, so that's great, Livia, well done. Okay, you've identified this shoulder's actually tighter than here. Yeah, okay. So you can feel again, see the way he reacted there where he tensed up? When he's in a good state of looseness, you can put any amount of pressure on there and they won't do anything. So this is really tight.
Sorry.
Yeah, and this shoulder's really tight as well.
Look, I jumped as well.
Okay, so we want to focus on this area here, all right? And also let's check out the neck. How's the neck? Yeah, so the neck on both sides is equally tight at this point here. This comes straight down here into the erectors, and there's also another part which comes down here and takes it into the arms. So we always start by heating the body up with effleurage, where we treat the back as a whole, we prep the whole thing. Later on, if you go further with massage and you go more into injury work, you work in a completely different way. But with full body massage, we start off with effleurage of the full back. So we're without shoes, and you take a little bit of oil. Now, in the beginning, you take a little bit of oil. If you use too much oil in the beginning, it will go really slippy and it won't allow you to get a grip of the muscle tissue. It won't allow you to get what's called traction, right? That's how you're moving the muscle tissue. So in the beginning, less is more. Okay, so you just need a little bit, heat it up in your hands. We want to come in at double palms here on the top traps on either side of the spine. I'm in a lunging stance. I'm not in a warrior stance. I'm in a lunging stance, okay? And the movement is coming from my hips, right? It's not coming from my shoulders and my hands, all right? Take a deep breath for me. And out. And as he breathes out, we're coming down the sides of the spine, down into the rectors, over the hips. And I'm taking the pressure off. I'm keeping contact with the skin, but I'm not pulling it. I'm just keeping contact with the skin and allowing my hands to come around the shoulders. And then we're scooping back up the neck here till we come into where the hairline would be over the base of the cranium.
Would be.
Yeah, right? Okay. As we hold here, because that feels really nice because we're coming up the scalene muscles there. Okay, holding, we then relax and we reposition. Okay, deep breath and push into it. Now, as you can see, I'm going to need more oil, okay, because this isn't enough oil, but it's much better to apply more as we go on. Okay, take a deep breath, and out you go.
What sort of pressure are you putting?
Light to medium pressure.
Is that because you're just like warming the muscles up?
Yeah, that's it, okay. Also, it's his frame as well. All right, he's not like massively huge, massively strong. Okay, so you don't want to go in too deep. Okay, so you want to start off light to medium pressure in the beginning again, and then we're moving the hands down, deep breath, working with the breath, and we're pushing into it in the lunging stance and coming down over the tops of the hips. We don't come under the towel, okay? We always stop here over the top. And you want to do this about 6 to 8 times. This is how we prep the body. So this is full effleurage.
And how long should this bit take?
6 to 8 times. In the beginning, give yourself about 6 to 8 times, all right? Now, remember we saw that the points of tension were here in the middle, and he also said this side of the body is bothering me more, all right? So what we want to do now is to take it into side effleurage, okay? So we have full effleurage, and then we want to take it into side effleurage. So step 1, treating the whole back. Step 2, focusing, coming into side effleurage.
So you're not necessarily keeping both hands on all the time
Yes,
when you're doing the
it's
side bit.
alternate.
Right.
Okay, so we're focusing on this side of the body that he wants me to focus on. So that's a slightly more focused move because we're moving in here. Right, now this area is where it's bothering him. So what I want to do now is to go into a reinforced hand where I'm in a lunging stance. I'm putting one hand in front of the other. I'm on this side of the spine. Take a deep breath. And we're going to be pushing into it. Now, I'm taking the pressure slowly as we come into the affected area of the deeper muscle tissues that are holding for him. See the way I've slowed it right down? Okay, I'm using my own body weight, I'm not using my arms and I'm not using my shoulders. It's coming from my hips and my waist. Okay, no pressure on the way coming up. The pressure is pushing down, but we keep contact with the skin on the way back. Take a deep breath for me. And on the out breath, push. Okay, so I'm coming into the affected area. Remember, it was mid-back where he said he had the problem. It's coming from my hips. I'm pushing into it. I'm really taking my time, allowing that muscle tissue to release, relax. Feels so good. Encouraging deep breaths. Use that breath. As the client breathes, it encourages the muscle to release. Okay. Now we're coming into this area where there really wasn't any problem. Remember, we didn't mark that off. As we come into this area, take your pressure back a bit. Okay. This is soft. So I'm making the pressure come back, it's not as strong, okay? So I'm being much lighter here as I'm coming down into the waist area. And then we're scooping over the side of the hip. Now, we're keeping contact with the skin, but there is no pressure on the way coming back, right? Let's do that one more time.
So are you using the pressure in your fingers and the palm of your hands, or are you going with the pressure?
It's
in
a
your
reinforced
fingers?
palm. There's no pressure coming from the fingers or the thumb. It's a reinforced hand, right? So we have one palm of the hand here.
Mhm.
I have another palm of the hand on top. This allows me to get my body weight in
Right.
behind it. On the breath, deep breath in and out. Okay, as he breathes out, we're breathing down into the erectors. So I'm really, again, we're coming into this area. We know he's tight. I'm taking my time. Good. Now this is going to start to feel really nice for him. Taking the pressure off at the hip, coming around and repositioning. Okay? We can then combine it again with some alternate effleurage. As we move with the different types of effleurage, the client will start to loosen and they'll start to respond. Alright, so that's how we start, by releasing the top with full effleurage, alternate side effleurage, and reinforced palm effleurage. Okay, we can also, to get into the deeper movements, use a loosed fist, right? So we're taking a deep breath and we're coming down. So this again, I can get a bit more pressure behind my fist.
So your arm is quite straight there.
Yeah.
isn't it?
I use that technique with my husband.
Taking the pressure off, again keeping contact with the client and coming around, right? So we've got a loose fist coming down. Again, you can repeat that 3 or 4 times. Taking the pressure off as we come over the hip and come back. To make it a bit more effective, now we've done that a couple of times, we're moving in deeper, we're now going to come into alternate fist. So again, I'm in a lunging stance. So you see the way I'm focusing more on the midpoint of the back. As we go over the midpoint of the back, I'm coming back into one fist and I'm taking it down, okay? You can't do this all the way down because it's very bad for your own body mechanics, okay? Again, we're going to work on this section here. So we would take it down and alternate loose fist. But then we want to drain it off into that section. Okay. We now want to come round, and you can feel that this, and you can actually see that it's not as bad as where it was. So now we want to come into another form of side effleurage, and also called stroking. You look so nervous. It's just like, oh shit. So what we can do is we can also work the muscle tissue from this side, right? So we've pushed the muscle tissue, we've worked at it from here. So now we can come down onto the side of the body, and we can also work with the muscle tissue coming up here. And again, it's the same techniques, but we're just working from another side of the body. Okay, so we would have side effleurage. This is also called stroking. Again, I'm in a lunging stance. I'm using the power of my hips, and my hands and arms are following what my hips are telling it to do. Okay, it's not this. You see how that looks wrong? Right? That's poor body mechanics, right? So for the sake of you not having a bad back, your arm's not killing you, you're in with a lunging stance, and it comes from the hips.
It felt really different as well.
Okay. And we're draining it out the arm. Okay, we can also come in as well with a reinforced palm, and again we're really light, and then as we're coming into the affected area, I've got my full body weight behind it. I'm taking my pressure level back down, up, sorry. I'm increasing the pressure level, working with his breath. See how he's deep breathing? He's connecting with me as well. Taking the pressure off as we come around to the shoulders, keeping contact with the client, and repositioning again. Okay? In the lunging stance, deep breath, and on the out breath, we're pushing into it. So you see how I've got my arms straightened here, right? That's the movement that's not coming from my arms and my shoulders, it's coming from the movement of my hips. Okay, and we can combine it again with some stroking. Okay, there's some different types of effleurage, right? Now we're going to continue to work this now with some pes dressage movements. With pes dressage, we have two main movements that are known as kneading and ringing. Okay, now we're going to start with some ringing with Tim, and again we're going to be focusing on this area here. So we've came up and we've drained it down, right? Now with the ringing, it's going to be very similar to what you've recognised here. As the course goes on, you'll go, I know that, I know where I've done something like that. So we're going to use something similar to this, right? So we come in, and then we're going to be ringing, right? Where we're making like a C shape. Remember how we did the C shape in our dry work? This is C shape now with oil with alternate fingers. And we're using the movement of the fingers and the thumb to manipulate the muscle tissue. This is a deeper movement which brings the muscle tissue into a deeper state of looseness. This is deeper than effleurage. And again, he's saying it's his mid-back. I'm focusing the treatment here more on the mid-back. Okay, effleurage is more sweeping and moving. With Pestrissage, you can become more focused. And again, the movement is coming from a warrior stance, and I'm moving my legs and my hips. It's not this, right? Again, you're going to end up with a bad back, bad neck, bad arms. I'm in my warrior stance, and the movement comes from here. The arms and the hands follow. So that's your good body mechanics. Okay, so I'm going to train it down. This is feeling a lot better. I'm going to come back up. You can work the full side of the back with some nice Pestrissage movements. And again, it's more difficult, so we're going to come round and sweep it around the shoulder. Okay. Now, digital fingers. I'm going to come back to a ringing technique, but it means I need to go onto that side of the body. That Pestrissage was enough to take this, okay? Again, what does he need here? So I want to come into what's called digital fingers circular motions, okay? Now the erectors here are connected with the neck and also what's coming in here with the arms. So we're going to use the fingers here, and we're just doing gentle circles now. With a lot of people, you'll feel a lot of crunching happening around here. The crunching is what's called knots, trigger points, areas of severe deep-rooted tension. So the finger movement of the digital fingers allows you to be more focused. So for instance, he's really tight here, okay? So you can really use that to be a lot more focused with what's happening in the muscle tissue there. This type of movement is completely relaxed and so much different. You can really specialise and focus in.
Just jump in
Yeah,
again.
so see here we've got the release happening again. Okay, so we're coming down over the sides here of the scapula, down the rhomboids, and now we're connecting in with the obliques, the lats, and coming here into the erectors. And again, you really want to focus here, give it a bit of time. Use that breath in through the nose and big sighs out through the mouth. So I'm spending a bit more time here, okay? I can feel it releasing at a deeper level, and then I'm going to move it in with a bit of ringing. See how I'm combining it? See him release with the breath? Okay. All right, so that's some effleurage and some Pestrissage. Okay? I want you to now go and do this if we've got time. What time are we on there?
1 o'clock.
Okay, so if you can stop filming now, I'm going to show you how to do that again, and then we'll do another demo when we come back from lunch. Okay.